Good morning and welcome to Brewing Happiness. Grab yourself a cup of your favorite brew and let's talk about happiness. Do you think you're waiting for happiness? That boy, if you just get the right job, the right the right partner, the right sofa, I don't know. We're always waiting for something. I'll be so happy when I graduate. I'll be so happy when I start school. I'll be so happy when I have kids. I'll be so happy when those kids graduate. So easy to put off happiness, and yet we just have right now, right? What do they say? Tomorrow is but a memory. I mean, yesterday is but a memory. Tomorrow, but a promise. All we have is today. That's why they call it the present, right? The present, the gift of today. And happiness right now, today, is really only dependent on a couple things, and it starts with you, right? The, Hi, I'm Tina Ann, and this is Brewing Happiness. And we are here to chat about how you can have more happiness in your life each and every day with very little change, with the adoption of some new perspectives and some new decisions. That happiness is yours to claim. And that's our chat for today. Is that we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for happiness. We want to choose it right here, right now. And so how do we do that? Let's talk about that. How do we do it? It's in science today. In the past, the science of psychology has focused around dysfunction, right? And the things that studying people who are not happy and the things that can go wrong. But in the last 25 to 30 years, there's been a movement, positive psychology, where we're actually studying happy people, successfully happy people, and finding out what are the commonalities and what are the things that bind them together, and what are the things we can do to be more like, to be in that top group of the happiness people. And who doesn't want to be happier, right? Who doesn't want to bring happiness everywhere they go? I like to think of us as happiness ambassadors. I like to think of those of you watching me today, thinking about happiness, wondering about happiness, looking to choose more happiness in your life. I like to think of us as happiness ambassadors, because happiness is an exponential gift you give everyone you meet. Everybody loves to be around happy people. You ever find somebody who's just extraordinarily happy for no reason, and you have an exchange for them? Maybe they're your clerk at the dime store. Maybe they're your waitress. Maybe you waved to them in traffic. But something about seeing somebody dancing on the street for no reason or with a big smile on their face has lifted you up and made you happier. So our goal is to be that person, right? To bring that happiness wherever we go. And like I said, happiness ambassadors. So this is your course on happiness ambassadors. And so the first thought is, well, how do I get happy? If I'm going to bring happiness to the folk, how do I get happy? So the first step in creating happiness is so simple. It's gratitude. It's being grateful for what we have right here and right now. If we're always thinking about what we want, what we don't have, what we're going to get, what's in the future for us or the past, it's hard to be happy because we're focused on a want, a need, instead of a contentment, a satisfaction, a have. So when you're thinking about you wish you had a bigger house, remember that you are of the 1% of the world that lives in their own house or apartment, has a safe bed, a dry, safe bed, has water running, has food on the table. Complain about your job. You wish you had a different job, but you can always look at it as you're so grateful that you have a job. You're working, you're providing, you're feeding your children, you're taking care of yourself, you're a responsible person. There's always two sides of the coin. And I remember as a young mom, I would have had a big day, right? Worked all day, came home to homework and baths and dinner and get bedtime stories, getting kids in bed, and you come downstairs and there's a big old sink of dirty dishes. And I remember having this conversation with myself as, oh my gosh, I'm so tired I can't do the dishes. I can't believe I have to do the dishes. I've done so much already. I can't believe I have to do the dishes. But then thinking, well, The fact is, I'm so grateful we have dishes. I'm so grateful we have food on the table, that there's a noisy bunch of children just settling down to sleep upstairs. That for the price of an extra, what does it take? 20 minutes, half hour? For the price of that, to run some water and dishes and load my dishwasher and wipe off the table. Very, the thought of being unhappy about that instead of grateful for that, you can see how that changes your perspective, right? I'm grateful that I have these dishes to do. It means there was food. It means my children are fed. That slight shift in gratitude for what's going on for us right now is the first step to happiness, because when you're grateful, how can you not be happy? When you're grateful, you are filled with I feel it right now. We're telling that story. I feel it. The love and the warmth that comes from that great feeling. How about you? I bet you have a story like that in your background, where you shifted perspective and moved from unhappiness into happiness seamlessly without even noticing. Think hard. What's your story? Because remembering that story can help you when you're in that difficult situation. And one other thought about happiness. I'm pretty convinced that a lot of our happiness. I'm a statistics kid by heart, so I believe in the 80-20 rule, right? The 80-20 rule rules our lives. 80% of what's going on caused by 20% of what we're doing. So um, in the 80-20 rule, I believe 80, and that's just a points that are not true, because in this situation, I think it's more like 95% of what we are unhappy about are things that we have created in our minds, right? Things that we are assuming what other people think, or how other people are perceiving us, or well, I don't know what that percentage is, but somewhere we are creating unhappiness, which I don't know. The one thing my mom used to tell me that helped me put things in perspective is we only get to be in charge of one person, right? We just get to be in charge of what one person does, and that's us. So if we can just do what we need to do to be grateful, to be proud, to be okay with our own actions, that's all we can control, and everything else. So being upset, resentful, disappointed, angry, etc., for somebody else's behavior, kind of futile, because you don't get to control that, right? You just get to decide how to react to it, because it's all about your happiness. I hate to say it, but it's all about you, your choices, how you choose to look at it. Someone does something that you wish they hadn't. Let's face it, happens to everyone. You can choose to be disappointed, or you can choose to try to be understanding, but understand whatever it is you choose, you're only choosing your reaction. You can't choose their behavior. For me, that's again something that helps me put things in perspective and stay in that gratitude, forgiveness. Well, and that leads me to the next point. So as I mentioned, I'm a statistician and indeed a process engineer, which means that when I was in the corporate world, I love to make process maps. The process queen of everything. Process mapping is where you write down. Let's see. All right, let's back up. A process is anything we do, specific steps we do with an expected outcome. So making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a process, right? So a process map is just a picture of that process, using symbols to say what comes first, and do you have to make a choice, and does that choice affect the next step? That's what a process map is. They can be really complicated, and so I made one for happiness, right? I tried to make a process map for mapping our happiness choices, but it's very complicated. It's very easy to make a complicated map. So I kept simplifying and got it down to what I will say are two boxes. The box for everyday happiness, are the two choices for everyday happiness. It's really easy to do, difficult to master, are these two items. And the first one is forgiveness. Forgive everyone for everything. And that includes yourself, especially yourself. Forgiveness is the key to gratefulness and to happiness. Because again, you can't control other people's behavior. You don't know what they're going through. We've all had moments that we are not proud of, and someone has forgiven us for those moments. So forgive, forgive, forgive. And you'll see the link between forgiveness and gratefulness and happiness is very tight. That the more you forgive, the more you let go and just let it be. Of course, we're not talking about not having boundaries. Again, you get to choose your own actions and reactions. Maybe you remove yourself from the situation because you don't like it. Not talking about that. We're talking about you choosing to understand that being unhappy about other people's behavior is a setup for futility because you can't control it. So the second box on this happiness process map is let go of all expectations. Again, simple to say, but not that simple to do. Let go of expectations because again, you're not in control. And even when you have expectations for your own life, face it, almost everything we do has inputs that are outside of our control. So, what do they say? Go with the flow. Happiness is about the flow. Going with the flow, trusting in your own gut, your own ability to make good choices in the next steps and to handle the situation, whatever it may be. We're going to talk about this more in future episodes of Brewing Happiness because I think there's a part of you saying, well, so simple. What? Sure, that sounds so simple, but you don't know my life. And that is how we all feel. And that's the point of Brewing Happiness, is to bring together those of us who want to bring more happiness to the world in the midst of raising children, going to work, caring for our elders, and all the things that we're required to do. So these are just a few ideas and for today. And these are the kinds of ideas we're going to be talking about in the future. Your everyday happiness, your ability to be happy right now, right here, today, does not depend on you quitting your job, running away and joining the circus, playing your favorite sport every day. Not the secret to your happiness, right? How am I happy today in the responsibilities I've chosen, in the duties that I carry on my shoulder that are part of everyone's life? How do I choose to be grateful, to forgive everyone, to let go of expectations, and go with the flow with a smile on my face? If that's your goal, you're in the right place, because those are exactly the things that we're going to be talking about in the future each and every week on Brewing Happiness. I'm Tina Ann, the Queen of Happiness. I'm so glad you've joined me today. As we explore these ideas, as we grab a cup of our favorite brew, as we start to link that daily ritual of the comfort of our warm cup to a mindfulness about our happiness and our gratefulness and our letting go of expectations and our forgiveness. That's the goal here on Brewing Happiness. I hope you will join me again next week, Mondays at 10. Until then, enjoy a cup.